Hey guys, welcome to another fantastic edition of News and Views. We have a special State of the Cities edition of News and Views this month, so we will be highlighting clips from each of our cities' presentations from this year's State of the Cities. Kicking things off in Ramsey this month, we are joined by Economic Development Manager Patrick Brama. Patrick is here to talk about the upcoming EDA Business Expo, as well as an update on Ramsey being a heart-safe city. Also from Ramsey is Community Development Director Tim Gladhill. Tim is here to give us a development update, as well as the lowdown on an upcoming workshop from the core in Ramsey. Next, we head to the city of Champlin, where City Council member Eric Johnson joins us to share some of his exciting things to come for 2016. Also from Champlin is City Planner Scott Schulte. Scott was kind enough to drop by and give us a status update on some residential projects and some on the commercial front. Next, we cross the bridge into the city of Anoka, where City Council member Jeff Weaver joins us to talk about the South Ferry Street Corridor proposal, as well as Craig Sorensen from the Charter Commission. Craig was here to give us a look on some of the functions of the Charter Commission. Last but not least, we head to Andover, where City Administrator Jim Dickinson stopped by to talk about the City Campus Master Plan, as well as City Engineer Jason Law. Jason is here to fill us in on exactly what he does as a city engineer for the city of Andover. That and much, much more coming right up on News and Views.
Hello and welcome to News and Views from Ramsey. I'm Catherine Lenneberg, and joining me today is Economic Development Manager Patrick Brama. Thank you, Patrick, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Now, we recently went to the QCTV went to the State of the Cities luncheon recently, and we heard all the cities kind of report on what's going on in the cities. We're going to take a look at a clip from that in a minute, but tell us, in your opinion, what is the state of the city of Ramsey?
Well, thank you. Yeah, the state of the city of Ramsey, I would say, is positive overall. I think the city's heading in a really good direction. We have a lot of good things to share. The clip that you're going to share and the full-length video really shows in detail what's happening in Ramsey. But overall, from a high-level perspective, the city has really put an emphasis on our strategic planning process over the past few years, and it's been a major priority for our city council. That strategic plan has four goals in it: a connected community, a smart citizen-focused government, an effective organization, and financial stability. So I would just want to touch on a few of those real quick. From a financial stability perspective, things are heading in a good direction. There's two sides to every budget. What are you spending and what are your revenues? And so the city has really sharpened the pencil as far as our budgeting process goes. We have a stable budget, we have a good bond rating, and things have been stable over the past few years, and we expect that to continue in the future. On the other side of that financial stability is economic development, and our city council has put a strong emphasis on economic development. We've seen a handful of new businesses, business expansions. We're working on a new business park, and so all those things collectively, along with our growth in housing, helps us balance our financial stability. Also, another area of emphasis for our council is a balanced scorecard, making sure that we are measuring what we're doing. We know where we're at today, we know where we were yesterday, and we know where we're heading in the future. And so we started a process of doing biannual citizen surveys to gather the opinions of our taxpayers and citizens. Where are we at in lots of different areas? It helps us indicate our performance. And we also began a handful of other performance measurement initiatives. So through that strategic planning process, we can also monitor how effective our organization is. A couple other areas of importance to note that are priorities for our council. One is citizen engagement. The city of Ramsey is a growing community. We have a lot of developments, a lot of things happening, lots of events, lots of changes. And so with that, there's a need to get citizens involved. There's a need to change. We're constantly working on our comprehensive plan and land use plans. And so making sure that as we do those things, as we make tough decisions, big policy decisions, our citizens are engaged and we don't make decisions in isolation. We make them with the community. And so our council's really put put an emphasis on that. That's something we've done well over the past few years, and which is reflected in our state of the city over the past year as well. The last item I want to mention for the city of Ramsey is transportation. Transportation is a big deal for us. As you know and most know, we've done spots on your show related to the Armstrong Interchange. That was completed recently. It's a huge deal for our community. Outside of that, Highway 10 is a major priority to improve for a handful of reasons. Highway 47, Alvin Boulevard, Armstrong Boulevard, there's a handful of corridors. Again, we're a changing and growing community, and with all that growth, there's a higher demand on our infrastructure, and we need to replace and upgrade that. So those are the areas of emphasis, but again, in summary, overall, I think things are really positive. We're really excited about the direction that we're heading, and a big component of that has been our strategic plan.
Very good. It's smart to work off of that.
Yes.
Also now on the Ramsey Heart Safe community. I notice other communities are signing up for this too, but Ramsey's been doing it for a while. Can you give us a little update on that?
Sure, yeah. Ramsey's really proud to be a part of the Heart Safe Communities program. So this is an initiative that started in Coon Rapids and then leapfrogged from Coon Rapids to Ramsey. And the reason why it did was because a person's life was saved in Coon Rapids because of the program. His name is Tim Hoffman, and he's a Ramsey resident, and he became the champion of the program in Ramsey. And so the program has 3 basic steps. For those that don't know and that have not received the training, it's call 911, start CPR, and get an AED. It's as simple as that, but it's important to go to the training and actually see it in real life. But it is a program that saves lives. Recently, another life was saved, I believe, in Coon Rapids with this program, people that were trained by the program. The goal in the city of Ramsey was to become heart safe. We did that last year. We're up to 1,100 people that have been trained, so we're over the 1,000 mark, which is a big deal, which we celebrated at the council meeting last night, the City of Ramsey's council meeting, and our goal is to be at 1,400. So we're looking forward to that. For anybody that wants more information, you can contact the city, check out our website, and there's a monthly training on Monday evenings, first Monday of the month at Ramsey City Hall.
Very good, Patrick. We're almost out of time, but really quickly, the business update, or the business expo is coming up. Can you just give the dates for that? And then we'll be covering it next month, so we'll report on it next week.
Sure. April 16th is the City of Ramsey's annual business expo. It's hosted by our EDA. It's located at the Fountains of Ramsey in the core. 50 local businesses come in and have exhibits, give out giveaways, provide information on their companies. It's a great opportunity for local residents to learn more about the local business community, and just a great family event for people to get out and check out. So we welcome you to join. You can get more information on our website.
Very good. Thank you so much, Patrick, for being here today.
Thank you.
Yes, and as I mentioned, we're going to take a look now at the State of the City's address that was recently held in Champlin at Willie McCoy's. Here's City Administrator Kurt Ulrich.
We work with a strategic plan. The city has 4 primary goals: financial stability, a connected community, smart citizen-focused government, and an effective organization. And these are the 4 goals that drive the community and drive the efforts that we do. One of the, next slide please, the primary components of financial stability, of course, is economic development and growing our business community. And so we're fortunate enough to welcome 22 new Ramsey businesses in 2015, number of significant investments as well, $500,000 remodel to the Coburn store in Ramsey. The city sold 5 of its properties in the core to various private developers. And we also had some significant business expansion, including with Life Fitness, Dedicated Networks, and Moline Concrete, totaling 76 new jobs in the city. So that was a significant growth in our industrial sector. New housing as well. Next slide shows number of new subdivisions that were planned and started development in 2015. Our housing starts started climbing up there again. Last year we were a little down, but 2015 shows us at almost 300 new households built in Ramsey. Total construction value of both residential and commercial projects in 2015 totaled over $87 million. One of the components of development is planning for the future, and with that, next slide please, we're planning for a future business park, which would be towards the west end of our downtown area, 93 acres in size, meant to plan from now until the next 15 or 20 years in the future.
Welcome back to News and Views in Ramsey. I'm Catherine Lenneberg, and joining me now is Tim Gladhill. Tim, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So tell us what you've been working on. You guys are busy over there.
We're definitely busy, so we're seeing a lot of construction activities within community development. We assist with pre-development and then construction activities and new development. So that's certainly been a big piece of what we've been doing over the last year.
So how about residential? Has there been a lot of residential development?
There have been. So in total, we've issued permits for 295 new households. So that's townhomes, single-family homes, apartments. Some of the key projects that we see are Harvest Estates. That's the redevelopment of the city's former municipal center and fire station number 2 location. So that first phase is largely complete. They do have a second phase, which will be probably about 2017. But right now, there are about 30 lots that are available for new homes, and the new streets and utilities have all been completed for that first phase. That builder is Rice Creek Builders, a little bit more of a local developer. Lennar Homes, a national home builder, did a project this year as well, known as Woodlands. It's near our Central Park. They created a little over 20 lots, and a same situation as Harvest Estates. Roads are in, utilities are in, there's some tie-in, but they also have many lots available for sale. They're actually going to do a second phase. They just recently applied for a second phase of that development, which we'll be reviewing in the next couple of months. D.R. Horton, another home builder who's got some property here in the core. Under construction are 15 townhome units. They're very excited about a new product that they've brought to the area. They've redone some floor plans, increased the quality of the interior of those units. They actually have a couple sales of those already, even though they're not even done with those units yet. And so they have some confidence in that project as well, to the tune that they're about to submit an application for a third phase of their development, and that would be 77 units of townhomes as well. And then if you drive through the core or anywhere, you kind of see the landscape changing and a lot of construction activity. The view shed is definitely changing in our community. 2 apartment buildings of high profile at this point, very tall buildings for the area, both 3 or 4 stories, are under construction. So you drive through the core, you can see the 2 apartment buildings that are under construction, Parkview East and Sunwood Village. Okay. And so we're hoping with the added households in the core, that'll lead to some of our longer-term goals of additional retail in the area as well.
Very good. How about business?
Patrick, in the last spot, mentioned a lot about business retention and expansion. We had 2 major employers do some significant expansions that are wrapping up as we speak. Life Fitness, high visibility corridor, purchased the former HealthQuest site, knocked that building down, and is doing nearly a 50,000 square foot expansion. So that's largely complete. They're looking for a grand opening the first week of March. The CEO of Brunswick Corporation, their parent company, is coming into town for ribbon cutting. And so that's something very exciting for our business community. And Dedicated Networks, another 20,000 square foot expansion, is wrapping up as we speak here. So they're looking for their certificate of occupancy this week and some site work in the spring as well.
And what about McDonald's?
McDonald's is something that our residents have been very excited about. We get that question a lot. We recently had some discussions with McDonald's. They were considering pushing out until 2017 or 2018. When the city sold the property, there were provisions about performance dates. They are now again looking at a 2016, later in 2016 construction start date, opening in 2017. They'll be looking at the floor plan, the model, perhaps a little bit more multi-tenant than a single McDonald's building. So we never can promise until the shovels are in the ground, but it looks promising that McDonald's will now commence construction on their facility and the property that they've already bought later this year.
Very good. Now, also, I see there's an upcoming thing on the future of the core. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as the core has developed, there's a master plan for the core dating back to the days as Ramsey Town Center. We made some tweaks on that a few years ago. So every few years as new development comes forward, we want to check in with our policymakers and the community. Are we heading in the right direction? So with a number of the recent projects, our Planning Commission and City Council wanted to check back in. Are we heading in the right direction with how the core is developing. So our boards and commissions will be doing a survey coming up, and then we'll have a workshop on March 24th, 5:30 p.m. at the Ramsey Municipal Center. We want to hear from the residents, how is the core progressing? Do we need to look at changes to the long-term vision, or are we headed in the right direction? So it's an excellent opportunity for residents to provide some feedback and help influence the positive direction of the core.
Very good. And there's information on the city's website.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for being here today. Really appreciate it. It's good to know what's going on in Ramsey.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Another new thing in Ramsey is a Casey's General Store. And QCTV's Winter and Chris went out and took a look. Let's take a look.
It's been a good year for businesses here in Ramsey, including several business expansions and additions, including Casey's General Store here on Sunwood Drive and Ramsey Boulevard. Recently, we talked with manager Gabe Dean for the details.
Well, we are certainly a convenience store, but we also offer the fresh made pizzas. We have made-to-order subs here, as well as some of the best prices in gas around.
What sort of reaction have you had to this Casey's in Ramsey here?
It's definitely been very well received. We're in a great location. We have certainly a nice new store, as well as many other services that a lot of other convenience stores don't offer.
So you mentioned pizza. Tell me all about that.
Well, we are about, I think, one of the top 5 actually pizza chains in the country, as well as one of the most liked ones in Minnesota. And of course, it is delicious.
So how do you feel about Ramsey being in here in this community? What are the people like here?
Well, I live in the community, so I think the people are very friendly. Certainly, it's a very friendly community, very family friendly. Generally, as Ramsey is, a lot of young, somewhat starting families, but we also have a wide variety of residents, I guess.
Fantastic, good to hear. So overall, I'd say it's good stuff happening in Ramsey.
Absolutely.
So if you're in Ramsey, check out Casey's General Store. For News and Views with Chris Carpenter, I'm Winter Kuharski.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Champlin segment of News and Views. For those that are watching on the channel, thanks for joining us, as well as the web. Thank you for checking us out. We are joined now by our first guest, and that is City Council Member Eric Johnson. How you doing, Eric?
Good. How are you doing, Corey?
Pretty good. We're a couple months into 2016. Winter's almost gone. It's nice to see some green grass. So,
I heard 50s are coming.
Yes, that's something to look forward to. Absolutely. Are you having a good year so far?
Good year. I'm in town. I do a lot of traveling for my work, so I'm hitting most of the meetings and everything.
Okay, that's good.
Council schedule is kind of picking back up again. We're starting to approve different resolutions, different projects for road projects, and kind of all the, I hate to say the mundane stuff of council, but it's kind of coming through and the normal stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. It's true, right? Those are the kind of things the typical city council members go through, right?
It's all the glamour.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, we're in a new year. 2015, I think, was a great year for Champlin. Some new developments, new businesses opened up. What are some projects that you're looking forward to for 2016?
On the development side, I'm really looking forward to Egan Companies getting up and running.
Okay.
They've been spending last few months rebuilding the space over on 117th and 169. They are going to be hosting an event there for Feed My Starving Children.
Okay.
It's basically a 4 or 5 day event where they're going to be raising a lot of money and making a lot of meals for families. So I know there's some sign-up things on different websites. I don't know if you guys are doing something about it.
We are doing some promotion for them.
So that'll be really cool. And then I believe they're opening like April 1st or something like that is when they're kind of moving.
Okay.
I don't know the exact date, but somewhere around there.
Sure. Early spring-ish.
Yeah.
Early summer.
So it'll be nice to about 200 employees there, so it'll really kind of fill up the building and bring a lot more activity to that area.
Sure.
Chipotle's open, of course. Everybody go
Big
eat at
news.
Chipotle.
That's right.
I've eaten there once. I know Ryan from City Council has eaten there a couple times.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to find Ryan, find him
Go
at
to
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Perfect.
And there's some other businesses in that same center that are opened up now. AT&T store, Starbucks. I think there's a Sport Clips that is going to be opened up or is. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that's a nice change from the BP station that was there.
Absolutely.
We got some projects coming up. The shoreline stabilization along the Mississippi over by the boat launch. I think they're going to start cutting trees and doing some stuff along there today or tomorrow, I think, is when they start.
Okay.
So very, very soon anyway.
Sure.
So there'll be some work done there. We're going to try doing some stuff for the mill pond.
Oh, sure.
Try to get some funding through the legislature for that.
Yep.
We have a meeting coming up with Representative Uglum and Senator Hoffman in early March.
Okay.
Before their legislative session starts. So we'll kind of get that kind of fired up, and we'll tell them what we'd like to see of them, and they'll tell us what's possible.
Sure. Sure. Fair enough.
So hopefully we can get some funding for the mill pond, get that cleaned up, get the habitat and the water quality improved.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no, those new businesses is really nice to see. You know, I used to work in that spot when it was Oasis Market.
Okay.
Way back when I was 18. So it's, you know, my wife.
That's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, my wife and I were at Lee and Chin over the weekend, and we were sitting there, and I'm just thinking to myself, that's crazy. You know, 2 decades ago, I was standing here selling people lottery tickets and cigarettes. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So it's nice to see, though, in a real good way. So. Fantastic. You touched on the mill pond. That's, you know, something to look forward to. And of course, they're redoing the dam. Can you just touch real briefly on that?
The dam is moving right along. We actually had a meeting last night where it was brought up. I think the expected completion date is June 1st.
Okay.
So it should be ready for the Father Hennepin. That's kind of what we're hoping.
Oh, right.
They should reopen West River Road about that time. I'm not sure of the exact time.
Sure.
It's going to be a good project. It'll be a nice amenity for the city.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Last month we ran a story on it with Todd Tuminen, and they gave us that amazing
with the drone footage.
The drone footage, yeah. That's.
Did they have that drone registered?
Yeah.
Gotta know.
Good point. We'll look into that. I'll give Todd a call when we're done here. Yeah, absolutely.
No, that was some cool footage. I really liked how they kind of swooped in and got different angles that you just don't see when you're driving to the parking area down there.
Yeah, exactly. I think the coolest thing about it was they had footage from like September through October through November, so you could kind of see all the stages, almost like one of those flip picture books. You know?
Yeah,
you can kind of see it happening in real time. But well, that's awesome. I think 2016 is off to a fantastic start for the city of Champlin. It sounds like there's some really exciting things to come, and we'll fully intend on updating our audience as the months go on. So.
Well, hopefully we as a city won't get lost in the whole political silly season of the presidential campaigns and the state legislature campaigns and stuff, because it's really silly out there.
Sure. No, I'm with you. I'll try to keep it grounded, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Avoid the silliness. Yeah, it's something to look forward to for next year when the dust is settled and the smoke clears, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Eric. We appreciate you coming on and telling us what's going on. We'll have you back in a couple months and see what's going on, right?
Sounds fun.
All right.
Thanks.
Continuing our State of the Cities theme, we actually have a clip from the Champlin presentation. Speaking is Mayor Armin Nelson, so let's take a look.
We've had a number of retail growth going on within the city. Lee and Chin's actually just opened up yesterday for their first day. I stopped in there last night and met with the manager and their regional manager. They had a very successful opening day. Not really a grand opening day, kind of a soft open day, and they were very happy with the traffic they received. In that same facility, we'll have Chipotle opening later this month. Sport Clips will be opening March 1st. And then a building next to it, we have AT&T, Champlin Dentistry, and Starbucks in there, and all those are open. Also, Alina Health remodeled their building this year, so they opened up in the spring or last winter, and they had their grand opening in the spring. So they're fully done building out their facility, and it's a really nice place.
Well, that State of the Cities event is sure fantastic, and it's nice to hear what everybody's doing in their own city. Joining us now is city planner Scott Schulte. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing good, Corey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. You're always a great sport. We appreciate you coming along. So what's new in your world? What's going on in the city of Champlin?
Well, actually quite a bit,
which
is kind of fun. And it's certainly some things that we've talked about maybe in previous opportunities we've had to talk about development in town. But I want to take maybe just a minute to talk about some of the things that are sort of ongoing in terms of development, and then also kind of lay out some of the things that we see coming down the pipeline for Champlin in the development world. So, first, I guess I want to talk about some of the residential development, which folks may be aware of because they've seen the bulldozers and the backhoes and the big dump trucks, particularly out on Elm Creek Crossing and the Hayden Lake Road area. There's two fairly significant residential developments that are well underway. The first I wanted to just touch on was the Reserve at Elm Creek. That's a 111 lot, single family residential development. It's we'll call it the Big Lake development. It's the one that created the large lake on the east side of Elm Creek Crossing, almost a 9-acre lake, in fact. But essentially what they did was brought that dirt over to the other side of Elm Creek Crossing to raise the site out of floodplain, supporting single-family homes. And so what we have popping up are some of those single-family homes. I would say there's about a dozen homes in that neighborhood that are either just complete or under construction right now. In fact, there's 5 of them that are directly adjacent Elm Creek Crossing and French Lake Road that are model homes. And those homes are now on the parade of homes, which are open for viewing. And that neighborhood has single-family home builders, Dingman Construction, Pete Lewis Custom Homes, Jonathan Homes, and Dean Hansen Construction Homes. So 4 builders in that neighborhood. The home values are kind of on the upper end, if you will, or the next step for homeowners, ranging probably from in the $500,000 range upwards to maybe $700,000 or $800,000 homes as you slide towards the Elm Creek Park Reserve, which this neighborhood is on. So for us, it's an exciting time in that area with the new construction, with the parade of homes, with model homes. It's just fun to be a part of that a beautiful neighborhood, quite frankly. So another neighborhood just actually south of that, south of the Elm Creek, which is the Cedars at Elm Creek, is a little bit different in that it is a detached townhome neighborhood.
Okay.
And maybe they're familiar, there is one model home right adjacent to Hayden Lake Road.
Yep.
Again, detached townhome, which is all association maintenance. You, of course, own the unit, but maintenance is common throughout that neighborhood. There's 34 lots in that neighborhood.
Okay.
The neat thing about it is that it's adjacent to Elm Creek, which is an amenity for folks, but also has some real important trail connections which link the neighborhood to adjacent neighborhoods, but also link the neighborhood with the Elm Creek Park Reserve, which is just to the west. In fact, there's a trail that runs underneath the bridge over the Elm Creek at Elm Creek Crossing. So
that's cool.
That that link and that connection is really cool for that neighborhood. So we're excited to see the progress of those 2 neighborhoods as we look to get new construction and get new families moving into Champlin and occupy some of those vacant lots today.
Yeah, absolutely. I take that way to and from work every day, and I think those trucks hauling dirt was responsible for me being late to work a couple of times.
Probably, and I think quite honestly there have been some concerns, folks that are maybe looking at this neighborhood to live in and the traffic volumes on Hayden Lake Road. And there's a couple of factors, actually, interesting things. One is the volume of trucks just based on the construction activity, which I think scares some folks, but also the amount of truck traffic generated with the 169 bridge closure over the Elm Creek.
Right.
That was the truck traffic was detoured, and a lot of that detoured truck traffic was on Hayden Lake Road. Well, of course, now that the weight restriction is off of that bridge, therefore we hope that there's a reduction in the overall truck traffic in that area. So folks interested in that neighborhood should know that they're going to see less heavy truck traffic in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I was just teasing too. I think that was really early on, and it seems to be significantly improved. Thanks for coming over here, Scott. We certainly appreciate it and updating us and certainly our residents to what's going on in Champlin.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, sounds good. Well, now we're going to take a look at a promo for, well, it's that time of year, Easter, and the annual Easter egg hunt is coming up. So here's Alicia Yankee with some thoughts on the upcoming event. Let's take a look.
It's going to be here sooner than we know it. Easter's a little early this year, so we'll be doing the annual Easter egg hunt on Friday, March 25th. It will again be sponsored by Riverway Church, which they're an awesome partner, and we are super thankful to have them as a part of it. We'll continue to do the 2 different egg hunts. We will have a 4 and under group, and they will kick off at 11 a.m. sharp, and then we will do our 5 and up group at 11:45. and that is sharp, so you want to make sure you're out there and ready to go because it goes quickly. And then we will have the eggs will be stuffed with candy, and then we hope to have some partners in the community putting some coupons in there, so maybe you'll see a free cone or something like that from Dairy Queen. If you are watching this at home on QCTV and you are thinking, well, I'd like to do that, but now the time has passed, it's easy. It's every year on Good Friday, so the Friday before Easter, and the times typically stay the same.
Well, hello there, and thanks for joining us again for the Anoka portion of News and Views. I'm your host, Matt Overstreet, and joining us again in the studio is Anoka City Council member Jeff Weaver. Jeff, thanks for being here with us today.
Anytime, Matt.
Thank you. So recently the council has heard a proposition regarding the South Ferry Street corridor. Now, first of all, you and I were talking a little bit before we sat down, and you kind of made me aware that this isn't a brand new idea, but for our viewers, can you tell them just a little bit about what it is?
You know, the South Ferry Street corridor, Matt, is probably our highest visual impact that the travelers, the residents, and anybody coming through the city of Anoka sees when they come into our community. You know, Highway 169 comes through, it funnels 10, it funnels 47. It's kind of the funnel that keeps people moving south, and it's our greeting card to the city of Anoka. And so the South Ferry Street corridor has been high. It's been on the wish list. It's been on a vision for a lot of councils long before I was even an elected member to the Anoka City Council.
So this is it's a beautification thing then.
It's a beautification. It's about bringing back the beauty of the river gorge, the ability to have pedestrians walk, people walk. It's probably got a safety factor in it, but it's also that greeting card that welcomes you. And you hope what happens is when somebody's stuck in traffic on 169 and they look over the side of the river gorge, looking down into the Rum, and there's a pontoon or a boat coming up river into downtown, or they're at the middle of the night and the arch lights are on the bridge. They see that and they go, I want to take a right on Main Street and see what's downtown. I want to check out Anoka. Instead of, I want to get through Anoka, I don't like what I see on Ferry Street, I want out of here. I want them to take a right and come into downtown and experience historic downtown Anoka.
I like that. I think now I very much have a clear idea of exactly what that is then. So now that we kind of know what that is and we kind of know the reason why, maybe you could let us know, well, this was only just kind of recently presented to the council. So with regards to council actions with the matter, what happens next?
Well, you realize this has been a long-term vision that dates way back, and in order to have a transaction, you have to have a willing seller and a willing buyer.
All right.
And we have a willing seller, and we have a seller that came before us, or a presentation last week with a letter of intent, with a deal that was laid out and how this deal would be structured. So we've given council at a work session, not an official action, we gave them the nod to keep moving forward. And I think you're going to see very shortly in the month of March, we'll start some formal paperwork, and then the planning process will start, and the Planning Commission, who will have a say in their new location, platting, any variances needed, will take place. And then you're going to see if that deal continues to keep moving forward. We'll see about the removal of the buildings, stabilization of the bank, and then you can start the bigger picture of putting all the pieces of the puzzle back together. And when you look at all the pieces of the puzzle, they're phenomenal. And I would encourage people to go to the Anoka City website and look at some of the drawings that Jeff Martin from Kinley Horn did of what's there today and what the potential is. And when you think about the Mad Hatter or the Woodbury House and the trails. If anybody hasn't walked the Woodbury House property or looked at the history of the stone walk and the arch bridge that goes over the bluff and looked back at some of the history that was written by some of the prior folks that lived in the house and talking about the encounters of the Indian times, it's truly remarkable. Well, if you could actually walk that and feel it and walk on the same turf that some of these people did, it's remarkable. And the amphitheater, and bringing that amphitheater back to its glory and allowing that to be used, and the Stone House and the Gideon's Gardens and that whole piece of property, I'm gonna guess there's maybe 1,000 feet of linear feet, and you tie that into the Woodbury property and then transition it down to Penn Point Park, and the vision of having a footbridge coming back over towards the boat ramp and having that circular pattern. The potential is endless. It's endless.
There certainly is a lot of area over there that's just begging, I think, maybe to be explored and to be really kind of shown for what the beautiful thing it could be.
It's going to turn into a regional destination. And when you look at, one of your prior guests was Scott Schulte from over in Champlin, and the work that they're doing over there along the mill pond and the river, and you tie in these two public areas and resources together, it's going to be jaw-dropping gorgeous.
It's going to be quite the destination, I think.
It is.
Well, I was going to follow up with a question on, I think, asking what your personal take was going to be on it, but I think that you kind of have given that to us. So, Jeff, thank you again for joining us today. I can't thank you enough. We always really enjoy talking to you.
Anytime, and if people have any questions, feel free to call at any time, or visit the Anoka website at www.ci.anoka.mn.us, and it'll be on the front page.
Absolutely. And speaking of that website, coming up next, we are going to take a little bit more of an in-depth look exactly at the proposal, a little bit at the website, and see some of those drawings that Councilmember Weaver mentioned. So let's take a look at that video right now.
In 2011 and 2012, the city conducted a study of the South Ferry Street corridor. The study identified a number of associated goals, including improving first impressions of Anoka, increasing pedestrian usage, increasing use of the area as recreational corridor with trails and river access, and increasing recognition and use of the Peninsula Point Park. To that end, the city has received a sketch plan to create a Riverwalk plan, which would see the creation of a trail system with plazas and river viewing areas on the west bank of the Rum River, whose goal would be to have a trail from the Rum River Dam to Peninsula Point Park that provided access to all historic points of interest along the route. However, this plan is contingent on the relocation of the River Place Counseling Center along with a few of its properties located in the middle of the corridor. Of course, QCTV will keep you updated on all the city's movements towards this goal, so be sure to check back with us.
And we are back on the Anoka portion of News and Views. Now, those drawings were something else, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that proposal as it moves through. Well, as you all know, on this show, we like to make sure that everyone is acquainted with Anoka's various committees. So joining us on the show today is the chairperson of the Charter Commission, Craig Sorensen. Thank you so much for joining us today, Craig.
Nice to be here, Matt. Thank you.
So first of all, for our viewers who may not be aware of exactly what it is that the Charter Commission does, can you talk a little bit about what it is?
Well, it is, on one hand, it's kind of a little bit complex. On the other hand, it's rather simple. I'm going to give you just a wee bit of background. In the state of Minnesota, there are two ways that cities can be established. They can either be established under Minnesota statute and be approved by the Minnesota legislature, or they can write their own home rule charter. And in essence, it's kind of a constitution for the city, and then be recognized legally that way. There are a number of cities in Minnesota that have decided to go to the charter route. City of Anoka is one of them. And so you've got like this kind of local constitution. So the Charter Commission is responsible for keeping an eye on that charter, for any amendments that might need to be made to it, any recommendations for changes, making sure it's up to date and reads appropriately and covers whatever it needs to cover. So that's kind of what we're up with.
Can I ask you, what would be the benefit of going the charter route versus the other?
The largest benefit is that writing a charter, the citizens at the local level have the opportunity to go beyond state law in defining how they want local government to operate.
Okay.
For instance, they can dictate that there be an assistant city manager who is responsible for all infrastructure in the city or something like that. If they have a particular
So it
desire.
seems like a lot more detailed level of control so that they can really have the city functions operate exactly the way that they want to. Is that right?
At least it's an opportunity for more control.
Okay, okay. So how long have you been a member of the Charter Commission?
I'm currently in my 4th year.
Okay.
I did serve for about 5 or 6 years back in the 80s, but this is my 4th year in this stint.
Okay. And as the chair of the Charter Commission, what are your specific duties?
Well, they really are rather limited, Matt. Other than coordinating the meetings, mostly it's just making sure that there is a contact person for the Charter Commission, and if there is any like volunteer recognition events during the year, it might have a role of introducing Charter Commission members, and that's really about it.
In your time with the Charter Commission, have you ever come across any unique considerations or potential challenges for the Charter?
I think an issue that we've struggled with the last couple of meetings and ended up making recommendations to the City Council on this last fall had to do with what the process should be if the public petitions for the recall of a member of the council. There have been several cities around the state or local governments that have had to struggle with that issue. And so we certainly don't anticipate struggling with that in the city of Anoka, but of course, we felt now is the time to have those discussions when it is not an issue, so that if it ever does become an issue, the process is clearer and both the party whose recall is being called for and the rest of the citizens have rights and have a process that they can follow.
I think that's absolutely brilliant, having the foresight to go ahead and have provisions in place just in case something like that comes along, you know, rather than being caught unawares should the issue ever arrive. Like you said, not that we're anticipating anything like that, but I think the genius of the commission is the fact that it can look ahead, look for those potential potholes in the road, and then go ahead and have something in place to, a plan in place to make sure that they're taken care of should the issue arise. So Craig, thank you so much for being on the show. I hope that our viewers have got a lot better idea of yet another commission that maybe they either weren't aware of or just didn't quite understand exactly what the functionality were. So thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Matt.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll be able to have you back soon. Well, now continuing our State of the Cities theme this month, QCTV was recently at the Anoka presentation in Champlin. Speaking is the Anoka City Council member Steve Schmidt. So let's take a look at that right now.
As you see the slides here, you should know we've had $100 million of building permits in the last 3 years. So we do have a lot of stuff, but we've only got 7 square miles. So, and if you think about all of the public property that is in the city of Anoka between the schools, the high school, the school district headquarters, the regional treatment center, the county buildings, the old state hospital, and the acres and acres of parks we have, most of our business and opportunities are redevelopment. Rum River Shores you're looking at up there, and I just see right now there's a new basement being poured in our first edition. There's a framed up building, and there's one that's looks like almost ready to move in.
Well, welcome to the Andover segment of News and Views. I'm your host, Leslie Sauersmith, and joining us today is City Administrator Jim Dickinson. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Every time is always a pleasure. great updates from you. So.
Any opportunity to get out to the community, I'd love to do it. So thank you.
Well, I know the city has been talking about a big future project that's coming to Andover, which is the city campus master plan. Can you give us an update on that?
Yes, the city campus master plan is we got to the point of actually having a preferred plan after about 10 months of working with a architect and landscape architect to really analyze the city campus, getting to long-term needs out 30 years. Really kind of the premise of it was starting to look at what we need to do first, particularly within our basic needs area, which would be public works. Then also looking at the community center to see what could potentially be the best way for that facility to expand also. But from start to finish, a lot of hands, a lot of voices heard through the process. We enlisted a lot of stakeholders, those particularly interested in the community center, those particularly interested in the grounds, the school district, and also then our internal staff, councils, and some communication with other agencies, whether it be the county or the watershed district. But really, getting to that final preferred plan was the culmination of a lot of work. We'll generate a lot of future plans for smaller projects. Sure. But I think the biggest thing of the plan was the talk about public works, where it sits. And we have this site, which is between Hanson Boulevard and Nightingale, just north of Crosstown, that Public Works sits in the middle. And then on the east side, we have the community center and City Hall. Through the analysis and study, we're really finding that opportunities to expand long-term for the community center are hampered by the placement of where Public Works is. Oh. And also to do efficient operations within Public Works, trying to continue to add on to some buildings that already have problems or have existed for a number of years, was not necessarily positioning us for the long term of the city, for the ultimate build out of the community. So a lot of things were looked at, a lot of things were discussed, financial analysis, and I think what would be most interesting for the community is to look at that final master plan, which I happen to have a copy with me, but I'll let you display that separately. But kind of the migration of where Public Works will go, and then by seeing that, really providing some opportunities for good expansion with good parking for the community center, and then community spaces, which can handle anything from sporting events to the maybe we go into a concert series sometime in the future, or Andover Family Fun Fest, who was a stakeholder and was able to provide a lot of comments.
Right.
The school district, too, tried to find a way to integrate into our plan because our campus sits right next to theirs, and we did some study on that, only to find out that one of our original goals, which was to connect Nightingale Street to Hanson via 154th, which is the entrance to Oakville Middle School, was probably not a wise choice. Sometimes you think about these really great things that would look good on paper, may look good for you to deal with, but once you start analyzing it, bring in the experts, find out that it was really not a good solution, would probably create some problems for the school district.
Right.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but...
Well, I know it's a really big overview, and it has... Guys are trying to cram in a lot of things in there, good things, obviously, to help the city, help the communities for the community spaces as well. And I saw the plan, it looks pretty good, in my opinion, but I don't live in Andover. But yeah, it looks like a lot of cool things that are coming in to Andover. And real quick, is there any opportunities for the public to chime in or see the plans themselves too?
What I kind of alluded to earlier, there's going to be a lot of smaller plans as part of this along the way. And the plan going forward, again, it's a long-term plan. It's for many years, and some of the construction will not happen next year, but it's based on how we can pay for it financially. But as we bite off segments. We will bring in interested parties to participate in the next phase of each one of those sections. For instance, if the community center goes, we'll bring in lots of those that use the community center. Public Works, we'll try and bring in those that work with Public Works in neighborhoods that could potentially be impacted by the move, so they have the opportunity to communicate. Which was something that did happen when we had our final presentation of the plan. A neighborhood to the west came in and provided some comments as to their concerns about some of the aesthetics and possible noise that may come from a Public Works moving closer to Nightingale Street.
Sure.
But each one of those individual projects will provide a notification. And if we start getting into changing some of the land uses as we talk about planning, we're required by state statute to send notifications out to the neighborhoods as to what's going to be taking place in their backyard, per se.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Jim.
All right. Thank you.
And now we continue our State of the Cities address and check out the Andover presentation. At the annual State of the Cities luncheon, the city of Andover had a lot of new exciting things to share.
Hello everyone, I'm Julie Trude, Andover's mayor, here to tell you a few of the exciting things going on in the city of Andover.
Mayor Julie Trude shared that the population of Andover has grown and has now reached 33,000 people. With many new housing developments, young new families to the elderly have found the city of Andover a great place to call home.
Andover continues to draw families that enjoy the outdoors and nature. They supported an open space referendum. We've now completed the purchase of over 100 acres of land that'll be preserved forever. And I've enjoyed walking those. People go out and snowshoe at this time of year. It's a good place to get out and see wildlife and nature.
Along with more people comes more businesses, including Willie McCoy's, Acapulco, and Premier Bank.
A fun ribbon cutting was at the Round Barn Trading Company. This is a famous landmark in Andover, and the new tenant in that building has really revitalized it. Please come check it out. They are selling items that are made by crafters. None of this made in another country. This is all local, regional goods, 70 crafters. They have chalk paint supplies, some antiques, and then a few snacks and supplies as well. So please check that out. They're open every day of the week, year-round.
Well, it's great to see and hear all the new growth and development that's happening in Andover. And right now we have Assistant City Engineer Jason Law joining us for the first time for News and Views. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. So it is your first time on News and Views. Can you tell me a little bit about the engineering field and how you got into it?
Sure. No matter what type of engineering you're in, whether it be civil, mechanical, industrial, electrical, you need to have a strong background in science and math. And I had a big interest in those in middle school and high school, and I was pretty good at them, so that kind of led me toward engineering. So decided to go to North Dakota State University, where I got my civil engineering degree. Graduated from there, worked for a consultant for 4 years, and then in 2003 I came to the city of Andover, and I've been there for the last 13 years.
Wow. Great. That's awesome. I was never really great with math and science and stuff like that. So it's always great to see everyone else be great at that type of thing. And everyone needs different job fillings and everything. So speaking of you working in Andover, what do you really do in Andover, being the assistant city engineer?
There's actually a wide variety of duties that I take on, which is actually one thing I like about the job. I work behind the scenes with developers and other governmental agencies and work very closely with the public as well. One of my responsibilities is working on any street or utility related project that takes place in Andover. In the engineering department, we'll take a project from the preliminary design through plan preparation and ultimately through construction. We'll work closely with the public on all those. Try to keep them informed, answer any questions they have. And we also work close with the planning department, parks department, public works, making sure that any project that's going on throughout the city runs as smoothly as possible. One of the other main duties that I have has kept me busy lately is reviewing plans for new housing developments or commercial sites. So
great.
Review those with the planning department and make sure that they meet all the city standards. With the variety of duties, I'm kind of the liaison with MnDOT, so I work on dealing with the bridge inspections and updating our pavement, our city's state aid system. Work with the Parks or the Public Works Department on crack sealing, seal coat, trail, parking lot maintenance. Work on the 5-year capital improvement plan, planning out projects. I'll do stormwater hydrology reviews. Work on updates to the park system, the trails. Just a huge variety of stuff.
I'm about to say, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats, or you are in all the little ponds, putting your feet in there. So
You know, it's fun having the diversity.
awesome, cool. So speaking of like the current, recent things that are happening in Andover, do you have any projects that you want to touch on that, or give us updates on that you're working on?
Sure. One thing that I've been spending a lot of time on lately is there's been some new updates to FEMA's floodplain maps. So I've been getting a lot of calls from residents on that. They get contacted by their mortgage companies telling them that they have to have flood insurance. So we've been answering a lot of calls on that. I've been working on a lot of new developments that are coming up. We have 3 to 4 new developments that will be happening this summer. We have B&D Estates 2nd Edition, Creekside Meadows, Boulder Estates, B&D Estates 2nd Edition, and then potentially Catcher's Creek 2nd Edition. That might be a 2017 project. And you know, with the Country Oaks North 2nd development, there's going to be a new state aid route that goes out to Hanson Boulevard, 167th Avenue. We have a couple of street reconstruction projects in the city that will be taking place starting probably mid-May. We have crack seal plant projects going on, seal coating, trail maintenance.
The list goes on, it sounds like.
A new trail we're going to build on Crosstown Boulevard, south of the Andover High School, which I think will get a lot of use.
Oh, good.
Commercial sites going on too. We have Acapulco that's currently under construction, a new Remax building, and a new strip mall that's going to be going up. So there's a lot going on.
Awesome. Well, sounds like you're going to keep busy for 2016, 2017 almost here too. So
Keeping busy is not a problem.
Of course not. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, Jason. It's always good to have new people coming in to News and Views that we haven't interviewed yet. So thank you.
Well, thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, and now I checked out the Rapids Archery Club.
I just got hooked right away, and it's been a passion ever since.
Well, today we're having the NFAA indoor sectional. It's the national shoot, so there's quite a few archers that will be coming, and this is only one of several locations that are hosting an indoor shoot today.
Really, it's really about the people. You know, you just meet so many wonderful people that enjoy the sport. It's the camaraderie as well in the archery world, that if someone's having a bad day or a hard day or something breaks, there's always another archer there that's willing to help and hand you their bow if they have to. And that's what I love about this sport, is just the friendship and the camaraderie in it. So it's the people that you get to meet.
Who would I recommend to come? Anybody. Anybody that wants to see what a bow and arrow is all about. They can come see a tournament. If they want to compete, like Rapids Archery here, they have introduction to archery classes. They have other sorts of archery classes. They have bows that you can use to try. I mean, right now there's a gentleman shooting that's 86, 87 years old. You know, Earl's been doing it forever, you know, and then you have other kids that are shooting over here that are 7, 8 years old. So there's something for everybody.
Well, that's it for another fantastic edition of News and Views. Thank you for tuning in. And for this and more local coverage, be sure to check out our brand new website at www.qctv.org.